Hello there, my name's Parth, and I think I've come up with a brand new guitar technique. It's a bold claim, I know, but I don't think I've ever seen anybody doing the thing that I'm about to describe to you quite in the way that I'm about to describe it to you. Now, this new guitar technique is based on one that exists already, known as thumping, popularized by Tosin Abasi of Animals as Leaders on the guitar at least. But like I say, this new technique that I've created, discovered, whatever, does something slightly different. So in order to describe my brilliant new creation, I'd like to talk a bit about thumping first. If you know what thumping is, then feel free to skip ahead in the video. Thumping is a technique that produces very percussive, sort of staccato sounds on guitar. The idea is that you use your thumb as a guitar pick. So you have a downstroke, where you hit through the string in a downward direction, and you have an upstroke with your thumb. So you use essentially the top of your nail to play the upstroke. So you get two strokes out of the thumb, 1, 2, and then you use your fingers. So your index finger first, then your middle finger, then your ring finger to pick or to finger pluck either the same string with which you thumped on your thumb or subsequent strings. Here's an example of how Tosin Abasi uses thumping with his band Animals as Leaders. So that was a demonstration of thumping. Even after all these years, I still find it very difficult to play cleanly. And by the way, I want to apologize right now for the gnarly looking plaster on my finger. Turns out that on the day that I was filming that playthrough, cheese wasn't the only thing that I was grating, and that my dinner was very much rich in iron. But anyway, so like we've said, the concept of thumping relies on 2 strokes from the thumb, 1 stroke from the index finger, 1 from the middle, 1 from the ring, and maybe even 1 from the pinky if you're feeling generous. So I thought we could extend that a little bit and get some extra strokes out of these fingers. We've already got a downstroke and an upstroke in the thumb, so why not have a downstroke and an upstroke in the index finger, a downstroke and an upstroke in the middle finger, and in the ring finger. I haven't quite figured out how to do it consistently well with the pinky yet. Maybe I still need to do my pinky curls or my pinky bench presses in order to get my pinky up to strength. But like I say, the idea is that you can have a downstroke and an upstroke with the thumb, a downstroke and an upstroke with the index finger, same with the middle, and same with the ring finger. Like I say, I've sort of seen people use the backs of their fingers to stroke the strings, in other words, have a downstroke with the index finger as well as the usual upstroke that you get from finger picking, but I haven't really seen somebody consistently do it with all the fingers. Which is why I'm sort of happy to call this a new technique, because it's doing things in a consistent way that, like I say, I haven't seen done before. So here's the thing, the biggest problem for me until now has been, what do I call this new technique? I wanted to call it Thumping version 2.0 because it's so heavily reliant on knowing how to thump. But then it's its own unique technique, it does things in a slightly different way, it sounds a little bit different, and because I'm an egomaniac, the answer came to me one day and I've decided to call it Parth Picking. Of course, I've named it after myself, which is obviously to stroke my own ego, and also the alliteration helps a little bit as well. Like I say though, if this technique already exists, then please do tell me and I'll be happy to take my name off the name of this technique. So let's talk about some benefits and drawbacks of using this technique. Why would we even do it in the first place? Why not just use normal thumping? Well, one of the answers is, the most obvious one, is that you get more notes if you're going to be playing down and upstrokes with your fingers, rather than if you were just going to be playing upstrokes. Another advantage is you get to play a little bit with the timbres, the types of sounds produced. Because you're hitting the string with the back of your fingernail, usually, this creates a much more dynamic but not quite as powerful sound as normal thumping does. And maybe what you're going for is not power, but rather dynamics, and it's a good tool to have in your toolbox. But the biggest benefit I found so far of this brand new Parth Picking technique, I can't believe I'm going to call it that, is the fact that if you want to play 2 notes on multiple different strings, It's easier to use 2 strokes on the thumb, 2 strokes on the index finger, 2 strokes on the middle finger, and so on, than it is to either move the thumb around on different strings or even do the same thing with a pick. You could even do this with hybrid picking if you wanted. You've got a pick in this hand and you can play a downstroke and an upstroke, and then instead of just picking individual notes with the middle and ring and pinky fingers, you could try and play double strokes if you wanted to. And this, like I say, is infinitely easier than moving your thumb or your pick around onto different strings, because you can keep your hand in exactly the same place and use the same motion, just extend different fingers depending on which one you want to pluck which string. So, the drawbacks of this technique. Like I say, I thought of this idea before I actually tried doing it on the guitar, the idea that you should play 2 notes with each finger, and pretty quickly it became evident to me why people don't do this more often. Initially, it hurts a little bit. The fact that you're playing a string with the back of your fingernail isn't the most ideal thing in the world. But pretty quickly you get used to it and you learn to hold your fingers with just the right amount of tension so that it doesn't hurt too much, but you also produce sounds that are usable and don't sound like a wet noodle. The other drawback of this technique is that you'll probably get slightly better results if your nails are a little bit longer. You can do a pretty good job with short nails, but I think the sound quality that you get is a bit more consistent if you have slightly longer nails. So that's my brand new technique, Parth Picking. Please do try it out. I'm really interested to hear what other guitarists think about it, especially with regards to other benefits and drawbacks of this technique that I haven't considered. And tag me in your videos, I'd really love to see them. Tag me on Instagram @ParthGMusic, the exact same thing on TikTok. And if you enjoyed this video, then please do subscribe and hit that bell button on this channel, because I want to post a bit more of this fun music-y content. Let me know if you enjoyed it. With that being said, thanks so much for watching this video, which is essentially just me patting myself on the back for having an idea. Don't very often have unique and original ideas, so when I do, I have to make a video about it. I'll see you very soon. Don't know why I have this, I don't even drink tea. It's just water.